John out here with you. It is Saturday, August 29th. This is beginning tips for PGA Tour 2K21. This is going to be a little bit of a first impressions and tips. If you're not familiar with this series, it was previously the golf club within the last few years, and now 2K has got the backing with this UK company to go ahead and make this game. So hopefully it stays the way that it is and improves. So I want to give you a little bit of tips here. Beginning start. So if you miss any of these other scenes, you can go back in there with the captions as I talk and the voiceover. So the first thing that you want to do in this game when you start up is go to the training tab. You hit R1 a few times on the PS4 controller, go into the training tab. You want to take a few practice swings. I'd recommend you take about 10 practice swings. What you do to swing the ball is pretty much pull back on the right stick and then go forward in one fluid motion. Now you notice on the right side of the screen when you're flipping through and taking your swings, it'll tell you if it's very slow, perfect, fast, or very fast. And you'll get the timing. You'll get a little rumble in your controller to kind of tell you when you're all the way pulled back and then to go forward. But the key is to do it in one fluid motion and keep it in a straight line as best as you can. And if you do that, then you go into your swing calibration. What that will do is it will get your timing down after you do your swing calibration. I would say do it twice. It tells you to take 10 full power swings. I would do it twice, and then after you do it, go back again and take some more practice swings. Now you will notice your perfect timing should be in tune with the flow you use on the right stick to essentially help you hit better shots. Once you feel comfortable with that, I would then recommend you go into the settings screen. So under your My Player in the settings screen, you will have options where it tells you after you do some of the tutorials that Pro is the default online difficulty setting. Now that is fine. To give you a sense from where I'm at, I've played maybe for about 10 hours. I don't necessarily imagine that I'm going to play this game every day because it's kind of a little bit like doing homework. Hockey was a little bit like doing homework for me as well, but it was a lot more fun. But you're always competing against yourself. So if you're in essence willing to work and put in the effort, you're going to get better at this game, but you need to be able to make the right reads. So what I'd suggest is that you go into the settings. Even though Pro is the online default, if you're still having trouble with your swing after doing that calibration timing, there is no shame in still using the Pro settings but turning the swing difficulty down to amateur or Pro-Am, because what that does is you see the window right now in the middle of the screen between the black and the white and the black again. It helps you get a bigger timing window to get your swings down. And that's the most important thing with this game, because if you're constantly fighting your swing, you're going to be spending more time in the rough and in the bunkers and getting in the H2O, which you don't want. So that's what can make this game downright fucking frustrating if you don't get your swing down. So I recommend you do whatever else you can to make sure you find the window that's comfortable for you. And as the game gets easier, as you get more practice, then you can in turn go back into the settings and make the difficulty harder on your swing. So, PGA Tour mode. You can start with Q School, the Ferry Tour, some of the other stuff in the PGA Tour. The long story short on this, if you want more practice, you can start with the Q School and anything else below PGA Tour. But you can't get any sponsorships doing the other three modes above PGA Tour, right? So if you want to start right in the game and get sponsorships and really kick off your career, go straight to PGA Tour. But if you want more practice, instead of going in to shoot practice holes against ghosts like that, you can start with Q School. Now, after you select Q School, it's going to ask you computer difficulty level. And it's going to flat out tell you in the computer difficulty levels what your opponents will shoot. So basically you know from the very beginning what they will shoot and what you need to score in order to take home the trophy. It's pretty simple in that regard. There's no shame, and again, and I did this too, and I continue to do this, putting the computer difficulty on very easy, because at most all they will shoot is 3 under. And depending on some of your other settings, let's say you think that's too easy, but you turn up the wind, you turn up some of the other difficulties with the weather, well, you're going to shoot higher scores. So you need to do that in combinations. In essence, I would suggest very easy bots for career mode and easy weather difficulty, not very easy. So that way you get a little bit of adjustment of the wind and the things that it will do. So then now you see this gameplay, and this is where I talk about it. You need to be very specific about what you do. So let's say now you have your swing timing down after we talked about that. Once you start the gameplay, you can click in the right stick to practice swing. And in that sense, it will help you get your tempo and everything else correct, so that way you can constantly hit and stay on the green and on the fairways. Because if you're not doing that, it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult for you. So what I suggest, as you see here, you press the triangle button to try to figure out where your swing will land, and you want to read from where it has the yards. It was 267 and above 20 or below 20. So you know the ball is going to bounce if it's below, and if it's above, it's likely to stick on the green. So if you think you're going to get close to a bunker when you do your initial swing, you want to pull back on the left stick so that way you can get a little less distance. So when you do get your swing, you can avoid the bunker. Now, the shots, as you start every shot, it will give you a template and an idea of where you want to shoot. But you need to adjust that in terms of where the wind is and what the weather is doing and what you want to do on the green. But each thing that you have set, if you shoot that shot as is, most likely it will be safe, but it does not take in account of the weather and the other things that you're facing. So if you blindly just swing, let's say you just get perfects, or you just barely miss, get a fast or slight slow, you will end up in a bunker, or you could end up in the water. And also, right where it says tee box on the top right, it tells you your initial swing plan, that you're going to get 100% of the swing if you choose to do that. If you're in the bunker, or if you're in somewhere else and you club up, if you go up or down on the D-pad to change clubs, your percentages will change as far as what your yardage will be when you shoot. So you need to pay attention of possible wind, of possible conditions that you're in, of possible changes in percentage that might impact your shot. You cannot just go blindly swing in this game and have a lot of success unless you want to go straight beginner difficulty. When you're reading the greens, just like this, as far as putting, you will see the beads. They're pretty straightforward. If they go, up a lot, it means it's going to move a lot. If it goes down, it means it's going to move a lot. And you need to read the greens as much as well. There's previews if you want with the X button, but I encourage you to turn those off, kind of read the greens, pull back on the left stick a little bit to shoot a little shorter, so that way you don't completely overshoot shots. The main way that you get better with this game is practice and repetition, and the best way to do that is to play with your friends in a private match, whether it would be stroke play or match play, and just bullshit and have fun and figure out the game together. Now, in this last instance of the screen that I show you here is your golf bag under your My Player. You're going to have a pretty good setting as far as when you first start off golf clubs, but you'll notice that you can get a lot more distance, but your forgiveness is not very high on some of these. As you play, you will earn more money, so when you go into your golf bag, the main idea is to iron out your weaknesses and do the best you can. For me, it helps me if I get a little more forgiveness, and I get a little less distance from that, but I get a lot more perfects in my window. Have fun, good luck, and if you have any more questions, don't be afraid to hit me up. Appreciate it checking it out. Peace out, guys.